Hello, David here, and luckily, or should I say unluckily, whatever, I've had this problem before, so I knew what it was right away, and I was able to diagnose the problem, and now I have parts on order. Now what you're looking at is a power steering reservoir. Now the vast majority of reservoirs are not simply just a container. What's interesting is Volvo's coolant container is just a pressurized container where it's an area for coolant to circulate. There's an air pocket, it's pressurized, there's an air pocket and kind of a reserve. But for BMW, the coolant container is actually extremely complex. Has many compartments for many different reasons. Has one inlet, several outlets, and an overflow inlet, so I should say 2 inlets and 2 outlets technically. And there are different compartments in there, and there are different reasons for it. So depending on the vehicle manufacturer, your reservoir, as it were, is not just a bucket like in the olden days. You know, if you have a 1980s Chrysler GM product or something, the vast majority of your power steering reservoirs, coolant reservoirs, even the brake reservoir are all just extra material storage containers. So, but anyway, I rambled on and on. This one is not, and I'll show you what's going on with it. So there's a filter inside of there, and that gets clogged up. Unfortunately, I can't back flush it because this is the inlet and this is the outlet. This goes to the power steering pump and provides a static head pressure load on the pump for it to draw on. Now, the pump goes to the power steering unit, and then that hot fluid is pumped to the front of the vehicle where it's cooled off and returned to the reservoir. Now, as the coolant comes into the reservoir, it goes into the filter and is filtered. Now, that is interesting to me. I didn't realize it before. Maybe I could review my other video. But most filters filter from the outside in. So, for example, let's look at an oil filter. And what we will see in the oil filter is that it's in a sealed bag. And I'm not changing the oil, so I'm not going to rip it out of the bag real quick. What I'm going to tell you is all of the oil in the canister saturates the outside. It is filtered. The filtered oil goes to the inside and returns back into the system. So that's typically how filters work. I reviewed my video, and for Volvo, the power steering fluid reservoirs, the return line filters the material from the inside. Now, what does that mean, really? It means when you stick your flashlight down there and you look in there, it's all black, but then you're thinking, well, is that because this is black plastic? And, you know, am I, just seeing black on the filter there because that's, the material surrounded by black plastic, or is it clogged up? And then how do you back flush it? You can't even back flush it because the fluid comes in, all of everything that's stuck in the filter is on the inside, and it's extremely difficult to pressurize the outside of the filter and flush it out that way. And that's the thing. It is dirty even though it is filtered. Now this is just the reservoir. So let's see if I can get a light on here. Not really. So there's quite a bit of fluid just in the reservoir. But I wanted to show you how dirty it was. And if you watch any of my videos, it's a lot of my personal vehicles, not too many of other people's vehicles, but you know, I'm pretty anal about keeping everything clean and changing fluid and whatnot like that. So, you know, this kind of went south quick, and actually when I was draining the fluid, I actually saw some vapor coming out of it where it was hot. Now power steering fluid is a hydraulic fluid and it gets pretty hot anyway, but still I was really surprised. Alright, I had my little Q-tip on a stick here. I just kind of swabbed it around the inside just to make sure it was in fact dirty and the filter was basically clogged. I blew it out, made sure that fluid would flow, even though I know it's restricted, and I'll show you that when I take it apart. But we will show you a tech tip now. You know, these caps that you got to squeeze in order to get them off, you know, because they're child proof or whatever. So if you want to get rid of that, and what you can do is, I just typically snip them in, you know, small little areas like this. And what I'm doing is I'm just making room. I can use a screwdriver or pliers or whatever. Just making room to remove the outer cap. Alright, and then once the outer cap is removed, you just have a normal cap, and you can see the little one-way things right there. Then you can put it on your windshield washer jug or whatever the heck it was on, and now you have removed some lawyers out of your life. Or you brought them into your life if someone gets into the container. You get sued. But anyway, fun stuff. Just making life easier. You know, I don't have kids around, so I'm not worried about it. Don't have grandkids around either, so. Yeah, I'm that old. So, as you can see, voila. Easy peasy. And, you know, there's various designs and whatnot, but they basically work like that. If it's not a double cap, it's some other thing that you'll just have to remove, and it becomes a normal cap like in the olden days. Alright, little tech tip there. So let me look at how much it costs. Alright, the wonderful world of telephones. So we're looking at Rocky Mountain European. That was the best price I found. I've purchased from them. I looked at my history. It's been a couple years. I used to go to them quite a bit, especially in my BMW days. But anyway, I was able to find a good price on the power steering reservoir, which was $87.46. Remember, it's not just a plastic container. I know there's a lot of inflation and costs are going higher and all that stuff, but still, They're typically $90 to $120. I mean, it's again, it's just not a container. Then I bought a couple of extra fluids because I was really surprised at how much they hold, and that was a ridiculously good price, that $11 there. Shipping, well, I bought some other things, but shipping was $13. I think it was $9 before I added a whole bunch of other junk to my order. So what I'm going to do is, after I get my new part, I'm going to cut this off and we'll look at the filter. Okay, in the engine compartment, this is where your power steering reservoir goes. It mounts to your coolant reservoir. You'll notice that it's a sealed unit. It becomes pressurized. You see there's a line here, there's a line here, and there's one underneath. So, you know, I'm not talking about that. Here's the power steering. Here's the line feeding the pump. This is actually the low pressure side, and then the high pressure return side is here. And the pump is back behind these covers here, and that's I didn't price it because I know it's fine. It's $300 to $500 and a heck of a lot of labor to get that in and out. Okay, there are different ways to flush it. Since I'm waiting on parts, I'm just going to fill it back up again and let it recirculate. I have basically 32 ounces removed. That's about how much was in here, and some of the hoses, and I'm just going to fill it back up to its normal setting and let it run. Did I say I already checked for leaks? Make sure there was nothing going on there. Made sure the fluid wasn't just low. So as you can see, it just slides onto these two tabs here, and it locks down onto the top one there. It's a little edge on the inside there. So that'll be pretty straightforward. Once everything is lined up, it just clicks in place. Put some fluid in there and just let it run for a while. Okay, the parts are arriving, so I'm going to prepare the vehicle. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift the front end a little bit, put it on jack stands so that when I turn the wheel, there'll be little or no resistance in the tire turning back and forth, because I'm not going to run the pump, and I'll explain that during the fluid change and fill. Alright, so let me get it on the stands, and it'll be magic because I'm not going to film it. Okay, after some wiggling and giggling, I have my fill apparatus here, which is the reservoir discharge hose where the filtered material goes to the pump. So I'll pour my liquid in here, and then on the return leg, which goes into the filter, I'll put in my catch pan here and start to flush it, as it were. I will fill the pump suction line, and then turn the wheels, and the rack and pinion will pump the fluid through the system. So, all right, I've done one cycle already because I'm learning. Anyway, what's going to happen is the previous scene will be cut from the video. What you're going to see is I'm going to fill this up. It's going to go to here. I'm going to turn the wheel, which, let me get that on camera too. Maybe I can get that on camera. I like to stay out of the picture, but whatever. So I'll fill this up. You'll see it come up in here, and then I'll turn the wheel and it'll go down. The rack and pinion will circulate the fluid, and I'll explain that more in a little bit. So here we go with the fluid. Should see it come up in the funnel. Might get a clearer funnel so you can see it better. It's slightly green but then I'll turn the wheel and it'll go down. Alright, let's see if this works better. I'll put a different funnel in there and fill it up and try it again. Yeah, I can see that. So let me turn the wheel and you'll see it go down. Okay, and I zoomed in so I wasn't on camera. You might have heard the ding 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 of the bong going off there, and you might have heard the wheels turning a little bit. They are barely off the ground. I really do not like to lift this vehicle off the ground if I don't have to. It doesn't mess with the alignment, but it just takes a while for everything to get back all settled down. It's just craziness. But anyway, so I will just keep going on, rinse and repeat. And it actually doesn't hold all that much. I ordered 2 more bottles, so I'll have plenty of fluid on hand. Alright, I've done this 4 times, filmed it 3. For some reason, turning to the left, turning the wheels to the left, like you're steering to the left, really draws it down. Turning to the right doesn't seem to affect it as much. But I also know the rack and pinion is not centered as far as where the fluid goes in. So the traveling of the pistons in there where it's assisted is probably not even, let's say. Also, this vehicle is complicated because it has power steering assistance, so that at high speeds it does not assist as much as when you're standing still. Yeah, so if you're backing out of a parking lot, I mean, this thing is really cranking. If you're going down the highway at 70 miles an hour, you know, there's hardly no pressure on the system. You're practically full 1960s. So anyway, that, as I say, is that. I'll continue. Okay, I have my jelly jar ready to collect it so I can see where the fluid is as far as the fresh new light green fluid versus the dark black original whatever was in there before fluid. Ignore the bottle over there. I'm just holding the glass up against the hose so it doesn't fly out of there. Okay, well, it's pretty clear we still have work to do. So I'll just keep on flushing. Okay, so you really don't need to run the engine and worry about the pump running dry and ruining your pump. That is a concern, but because again, the pump pressurizes the system to assist you. It's not like it's pumping while you're turning. The system is already pressurized to assist you while you're turning. I don't know how else to explain it, so hopefully that'll help you understand why this is working. And, all right, like I said, I shall continue. All right, I have my compressor set to about 10 psi. It's really vague between 0 and 20, so it's kind of, I'm saying 10, but let's just call it 20 just for the sake of argument, just to show that I'm not damaging the vehicle when I actually use it. So I did a test run and it worked fine, so I just kind of blew some fluid out of it. Now I'm catching it in a jar down here, and it looks pretty clear, so I was pretty much done to begin with, and I'm real happy with that flushing result instead of turning the wheel and everything, which I really didn't like. Just wanted to show you that this worked, and you actually have to be careful, and it's coming out super clear. Let me zoom in there, and so we've got all of the old fluid out, so it's just going to be, oh, now we are siphoning. Now it's just going to be a matter of putting new fluid in. So I'm very happy with this technique as opposed to the turning the steering wheel. Although I think I might turn the steering wheel just one more time to make sure I got the ends of the rack and pinion cleared out. Alright, moving on. Alright, then I'm going to perform a quick shot of me clearing out the hoses, showing you that the hose is clear as far as the fluid is clear because the jar is still dark. So I'm sure I flushed it out, and I might even do one more. I'm purchasing plenty of fluid, so I just might shoot a little bit more out of the system just to be 100% sure, since I'm going through all the trouble of cleaning it. Alright, that's how you do customer service. The parts have arrived. When I ordered it, it said Monday, which was 6 days later. Then the delivery service said Saturday, and here it is Thursday, and I got it. So excellent, excellent, excellent. Alright. There's something I hopefully won't need, some Volvo, genuine Volvo coolant. I needed a cabin air filter. That goes in stock. Da, 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 da. Of course, it looks like the correct one immediately. Some miscellaneous stuff for my next oil change. And some oil filters. Yes, they're not genuine Volvo oil filters, but that's okay. Now, I like Milwaukee tools, not a sponsor, just was exposed to them in the industry I worked at. And what I like about a lot of these tools is the torque. You know, you just can't over torque things when you set it up. So there's no busting the plastic tubes or anything. So anyway, that's why I like a lot of these electrical tools. Alright, I'm on camera. It slides in the two places on the bottom, and then it clicks in up at the top here. So just get everything all lined up. And we're in. Okay, I showed you the white filter on the new one and the dirty filter on the old one. Let me see if I can get this apart and we'll look at it closer. Alright, so this video has occurred over a period of days. You know, I had to stop and start and stop and start, waiting on parts and whatnot. And now I'm actually waiting on the fluid. Yeah, it was shipped separately, so it'll be here today, which doesn't mean anything in the video. But you can see how dark this is. and I've shown pictures on how white the new one is. Anyway, this is technically a filter change operation, and this vehicle was new, but even a vehicle that we purchased new, I had to change the power steering reservoir on because the filter, as it were, which the fluid comes in and goes out, so all of the debris is on the inside. A car we purchased new, I also had to change the reservoir on because it had become completely clogged. Where in this case, it was only partially clogged, and I knew the symptoms because I have already experienced it. So now this is also a little bit cleaner because I kind of cleaned up all the debris where I cut this off. That created a tremendous amount of filings, and you can still see plenty of it in there. But I just wanted to show you the fact that this is a filter change more than a power steering unit reservoir change. So anyway, I decided to wrap the video up instead of showing you the filling of the system. Basically, the pump will make some noise, and I'll fill up the reservoir a couple times until I get it to the full mark. In my experience, the full cold and the full hot, I've really never seen it expand all that much, but I'll probably get it about halfway in there. We'll see, just wherever it falls. Definitely above add and near the cold, maybe a little bit above it. Also did my little auto detailing trick. I didn't do the lettering. Wasn't worried about that. So when the fluid gets here today, you know, I'll fill it up. I'll let it naturally purge the air out of it, because just the weight of the fluid will pump it up and into the reservoir. So I'll let that happen. Probably overfill it, start the car, burp the air, and that'll be the end of the story. Won't let you hear it whine. So I appreciate you watching my videos. Have a great day.